And the radical left has done tremendous damage to the country, but we're fixing it. We have radical left lunatics out there, and we just have to beat the hell out of them.
After Charlie Kirk's assassination, Trump's administration has declared a war on the radical left. RICO cases, billion-dollar lawsuits, and threats to free speech unleash a wave of political repression. But the real question remains: is this a crackdown on extremism or a full-scale assault on democracy itself? The assassination of conservative activist Charlie Kirk on September 10th has become the catalyst for what appears to be President Donald Trump's most aggressive assault on political opposition since taking office. Within hours of the shooting in Utah, Trump and his administration began outlining sweeping plans to target liberal organizations, revoke tax-exempt statuses, and launch federal investigations into what they call radical left groups. Speaking from the Oval Office just one day after Kirk's murder, Trump delivered a chilling promise.
For years, those on the radical left have compared wonderful Americans like Charlie to Nazis and the world's worst mass murderers and criminals. This kind of rhetoric is directly responsible for the terrorism that we're seeing in our country today, and it must stop right now. My administration will find each and every one of those who contributed to this atrocity and to other political violence, including the organizations that fund it and support it.
But perhaps most revealing was Trump's September 11 appearance on the White House South Lawn, where he told reporters,
"We have radical left lunatics out there, and we just have to beat the hell out of them."
By September 12th, Trump had escalated his rhetoric significantly during a Fox News interview, calling for racketeering investigations into billionaire philanthropist George Soros.
We're going to look into Soros because I think it's a RICO case against him.
The president's deputy chief of staff, Stephen Miller, appeared on Kirk's own podcast just days after the murder, hosted by Vice President J.D. Vance.
With God as my witness, we are going to use every resource we have at the Department of Justice, Homeland Security, and throughout this government to identify, disrupt, dismantle, and destroy these networks. We will do it in Charlie's name.
Vance himself went further, specifically targeting prominent liberal foundations. During the same podcast appearance, he accused George Soros's Open Society Foundations and the Ford Foundation of setting fire to the house built by the American family over 250 years. The vice president promised to crack down on what he called this incredibly destructive movement of left-wing extremism. The administration's plans have crystallized into concrete threats. Trump told reporters Monday that he had asked Attorney General Pam Bondi to bring RICO charges against organizations involved in protests.
We have some pretty radical groups, and they got away with murder. And also, I've been speaking to the Attorney General about bringing RICO against some of the people that you've been reading about that have been putting up millions and millions of dollars for agitation. These aren't protests. These are crimes, what they're doing.
Later on September 16th, when Trump was pressed by an ABC News reporter about the line between free speech and hate speech, his response revealed the breadth of his intentions.
We probably go after people like you because you treat me so unfairly. It's hate. You have a lot of hate in your heart. Maybe they'll come after ABC. It hasn't been fair. And the radical left has done tremendous damage to the country, but we're fixing it.
The American president has also launched a parallel campaign of intimidation beyond government channels. He filed a $15 billion libel suit against the New York Times, while his allies orchestrate what can only be described as a systematic purge of critics. The response from targeted organizations and civil rights groups reveals the depth of concern about what many see as an unprecedented threat to democratic institutions. The Open Society Foundations issued a statement condemning Kirk's killing while defending their work as entirely peaceful and lawful. They declared,
"It is disgraceful to use this tragedy for political ends to dangerously divide Americans and attack the First Amendment."
Jessica Brand, founder of the Wren Collective, a criminal justice reform nonprofit, captured the climate of fear gripping liberal organizations.
There is a real cost to these threats from elected officials and their allies with platforms. They inflict tremendous fear and costs on those on the receiving end. People have to increase security, live with fear of future attacks, and find themselves on the receiving end of vile and terrifying threats. And that's the goal. The purpose of these threats is to silence critics and quash dissent.
Democratic Senator Chris Murphy of Connecticut warned that something dark might be coming, writing on social media that
Trump and his anti-democratic radicals look to be readying a campaign to destroy dissent.
the comparison to McCarthyism, an anti-left practice, isn't lost on those who study political repression. Some drew direct parallels to the 1950s Red Scare.
It's a really critical moment for other organizations to stand in solidarity, loud and clear solidarity, with organizations facing repression. Now's not the time for splitting hairs over smaller disagreements. If they come after one of us, they will come after us all.
The administration's targeting extends beyond prominent organizations to individual critics. Representative Clay Higgins of Louisiana announced he would use congressional authority to seek immediate bans for life from social media platforms for anyone who belittled the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Higgins went further, threatening to go after their business licenses and permitting and have their driver's licenses revoked. The human cost of this campaign has become starkly visible. Karen Attiah, a Washington Post opinion columnist, was fired for posts questioning whether white America would take action to prevent similar violence. MSNBC pundit Matthew Dowd lost his position for suggesting that hateful thoughts lead to hateful words, which then lead to hateful actions. Even regular Americans have faced consequences, including a Secret Service agent, airline employees, and restaurant managers. The Center for Strategic and International Studies found that violent far-right perpetrators have been responsible for 87% of terrorism fatalities in the United States over the past 5 years. Their 2024 report, analysing 831 terrorist attacks from 1994 to 2022, showed that 69% of attacks in 2022 were perpetrated by the violent far right, compared to just 20% by the violent far left.